Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Today we got a review for you. Finally, after more than 35 years, Beetlejuice comes out with a sequel, Beetlejuice. First impressions of this movie out of the theater, I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. The old cast plays off each other just as well as they did in 88, especially Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder. For obvious reasons, Jeffrey Jones was not invited back to this movie. You can look him up if you don't know what he did. But they use that, but they do not write out Charles entirely. They're able to save the character without bringing back the actor. And greetings, Gorilla. But as I was saying, the old cast plays well against each other. The new cast is very well. Jenna Ortega, very good. I look forward to seeing her in other stuff. Seeing her in this, I may go back and watch Wednesday. They did well. They didn't make this movie solely about her. It is about Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder primarily, but she plays her part very well. And look forward to seeing her actually develop and hopefully someday A-list actress. She does very well, and William Dafoe as the cop, very, very good. Steals the show in places. Unfortunately, we only get a couple of scenes with Dafoe and Keaton together. The way the story was written, they just couldn't manage it any more than they were able to. But in what scenes they are in together, very, very good. What I didn't like about this movie, some of the CGI, like we seen in the trailer where the eyes bug out, and then the sandworms. Those are done with computer generation where practical effects would have looked a lot better. The sandworm especially just looks wrong. The funeral scene, because this won't be a spoiler, is in one of the trailers. Charles is dead. They're lowering the casket in. And a boys' choir is singing Deo. I know they wanted it in the movie, but it doesn't really fit for the funeral scene. It's weird, but not in the right way you want weird for this movie. Then Monica Bellucci, Beetlejuice's supposed ex-wife, doesn't really fit into this movie. It's cut down quite a lot. I think the parts they kept in were just to make the parts they kept for Dafoe and Keaton talking earlier in the movie to seem relevant. And there's a couple of cameos that she's involved in that they wanted to keep, especially I think the Danny DeVito cameo. But other than that, she seems like a completely pointless character. She's in it maybe, I think, 4 scenes. But she has no real impact on the movie. But all in all, it's a very good movie. Just a couple of the problems, as I said. I would really love to see Dafoe and Keaton interact a lot more. But overall, I give this a B plus. It's a lot better than I was expecting. Say if they wanted to give it an extra month debut this on Halloween. Give it time to fix the parts where they can just scrape out Monica and make the primary problem in this the Astrid and the Ghost Boy problem. That would have been a lot better all around. Hello, Sith Dan. Welcome. Good show you had just now. But yeah, B minus or B plus. My final. They do include a very interesting musical number. Not Dale. I would have chosen a different song. They used MacArthur Park for the wedding scene. Beetlejuice is making everyone sing. They're going through MacArthur Park. I'm not sure that was the best song to use for that. I'm not sure what they would have used, but still not my favorite. Not a choice I would have made for the musical number. And hello, Mikey. And hello, Emerald Teague. Welcome. But other than that, those are my big problems with the movie. Nothing too serious. So yeah, B plus. But to break down the movie further, we start off a sweeping view of Winter River. We're looking over the model, and then we're going up to the house. There's a part where you can see it transition from model to I don't know if it was CGI or whatever they used. Livia is a psychic medium on a television show. So that would explain why she is dressed up for the part. She doesn't look normal. I know that was some of the problems that were mentioned by people earlier. So she's dressed for the part of Ghost House, which is her TV show. Beetlejuice has been haunting her off and on for the years. Then the tragedy comes that Charles is dead. They handle that quite well too. An animated sequence as Delia describes it. The sort of like a caricature animation. So you recognize it as Jeffrey Jones, but it's just enough that I don't think they'll have to pay him royalties for it. But as close as they come to featuring Jeffrey Jones whatsoever in this movie, the rest of the time, when he's in the ghost world, head bitten clean off. He dies in a plane crash, eaten by a shark. So he's just walking around the netherworld without a head. That's good to see Jeffrey Jones passing tribute. No, it is not a tribute, Mikey. Jeffrey Jones did some very bad things, and that's why he is not in this movie. And it's not just because he's 77 years old. I don't believe the state of California was going to permit him to have time away to do this movie. He is either on house arrest or in prison at the moment. Oh, one sub away from 600. Yeah, I gained a few over the last couple days. That's good to see. So Jeffrey Jones is not a problem in this movie. The little screwy guy, I forget what they call him, Delia's boyfriend slash manager. He should have been the secondary villain in this, trying to screw around with her. And I said the kid trying to steal the daughter's soul so he can live again. That should have been the primary focus of this movie. We did not need Beetlejuice's ex-wife. His obsession with Lydia and marrying her, that is more than enough motivation to have Beetlejuice in this movie. And you can bring in Defoe to try to stop the kid and try to stop Beetlejuice's mischief as he's trying to help. So we could have eliminated the ex-wife altogether. I don't even remember what the character's name was. She's that unimportant to the plot of this movie. But in the end, Astrid sort of saves the day because she gets the contract that her mother signed with Beetlejuice and invalidated. So he's screwed. And he goes back to his sad afterlife. They do not portray Beetlejuice as a hero, which is good. He's not a violent guy. He's sort of helpful, but he is at heart still a scumbag. Which I was glad to see them keep a hold on. They don't try to make him in any way redeemable or sympathetic. He's the same semi-helpful jerk from the first one. And hello, Gap. Welcome to the show. But yeah, I think they could have done better. Just like give it another month and eat the cost of all the stuff they had with the ex-wife. Just cut that out and redo the early parts of the movie so they can work William Dafoe in with Michael Keaton more. This could have been an A+ movie, just like the first one. Mikey and Beetlejuice have something in common. They both have blood-sucking ex-wives. Well, that is generally a feature of ex-wives, this Dan. But I believe she is literally a soul sucker in this movie. The most she does, the most relevant thing that she does in this movie is she sucks the soul of poor Bob. Bob is a shrunken head, basically underling of Beetlejuice, who's been damned to work in middle management for all eternity, which is a fitting punishment for a guy like him. Unfortunately, he runs into the ex-wife. He doesn't sell out Beetlejuice, and he becomes a soul pancake. Poor Bob. That's pretty much the run of the movie. But it's not a must-see in theaters, but if you have the free time and looking to spend about 2 hours, it's a good use of about $20. But if you want to wait for streaming or any other ways to see it, that's fine too. It's not exactly must-see. It's not going to be a profound change in you, but you'll like the way you spent the last 2 hours. You also have something in common with him as well. We accept instead of ex-wives. Well, yeah, exes in general do tend to be soul-sucking, bloodthirsty, evil she-demons. At least for that part where it ends. You're lucky you don't get an assassination attempt sometimes. Yeah, that's it. B plus. Very good movie. Buy it on physical media when it comes out. It's a great addition to go along if you own Beetlejuice. No real over need to see it in theaters though. Only if, let's say, you have the time and the inclination. It's a good way to spend a random night where you have nothing better to do and you just want to sit back, relax, basically do nothing. Spend $20, go out and see it in theaters. How much did they pay Danny DeVito and Monica to do this horror comedy? I don't know, but if they're paid by the minute, it was way too much. Because Danny DeVito is in it for less than, I'd say, 3 minutes, 5 minutes before he's taken out. And as I said, 3 or 4 scenes that Monica's in, they really stripped her character down to the point where anything else they pulled out, let's say they would have affected a couple cameos, and they would have had to remove more of Willem Dafoe, which I know they didn't want to do because he does a great job in this movie. Yeah, Danny DeVito, yeah, I think this was quick cash for Bellucci. I believe initially her role in this movie was a lot more than what it ends up being, especially from the trailers and from the way the movie flows out. It seems like she was going to be a primary focus, but then they edit it back because they realized the Astrid storyline and everything else was a little bit more fitting and a good bit more interesting than the ex-wife. So I think they just scaled that way, way back. I'm sure she did a ton more work than what she did for what actually ends up in the final cut. DeVito and Burton are probably friends. They've worked together before. Yeah, that would explain why he does a cameo. But he was nothing ever more than a cameo. Yeah, Defoe, he does great. Uh, the actor as the cop actor as a cop in the afterlife, it's a very, very good take on it. He does a very good job, very entertaining. I wish they could have got him in a little bit more, but as the story goes out, I see why they had to cut back because his role is more focused on the ex-wife at the beginning. Then it becomes more about Beetlejuice towards the end. So they probably didn't want to do any reshoots or re-edits to get the foe more into the what ends up being the primary storyline of Astrid and the kid trying to steal her life. But that is one of the more interesting parts. They explain how a ghost could trade the living, could give up their life so the dead can go back. That was an interesting twist to it. That ends up being the primary conflict in the movie, which I can't understand why they wouldn't start out that as the primary conflict and why they have the whole ex-wife thing in there. Catherine O'Hara. Oh yeah, she does come back. She does have some prominent roles in it, and she's not in it as much as the other four I mentioned, of course, because mainly she's just there to first off deliver the story about how Charles died and go about the mourning process. I'll tell you now, she does die in the film. It is relatively funny how, and it does pay off in the end. And it does affirm her relationship with Charles. Because I'll spoil the very end of it. The soul train that we see in the trailer, that's the Great Beyond. They meet as they're going on to the train. They embrace. They get on the train with all the disco people, and they head off to the Great Beyond. So they get a semi-happy ending. They may be dead, but they're together. Yeah, that's pretty much it, though. Good movie, not great. Good addition to your collection if you have the first Beetlejuice. Highly recommend, especially getting it on physical media. Yeah, that is nice closure. And if we're lucky, say in another 5 years, maybe 10 years, it's too much. We'll get Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Oh, yeah. The actual, there is a prologue to this movie. The storyline ends in the church. The rest of that, there is a fairly hilarious part after what you think is a sappy ending with a baby Beetlejuice. That stuff I do not believe is actually not. Then they make a callback at the very end. It's a very, they do a weird dream callback. I believe that was the Newhart show. But it's a very, very funny, very, very interesting prologue scene for it. That should be making its way onto YouTube soon enough. So if you have a chance, look that up in the next few days. That scene will give you a good feel about how the movie goes. But I said, recommended, B+. Yeah, second Newhart show. But thanks for coming by, everybody. Try to have the edited version of this out by tomorrow, maybe Monday. Thanks for stopping by. We'll be back again Tuesday for the debate special, co-hosting with Skrilla's Random Thoughts. And we'll see you later, everybody. Take care.